Hi foodie friends, my name is Sue and I have nearly 40 years experience in the Carnival concession business. Today I'm going to talk to you about deciding what rig you'll use, whether you're going to go the local route, kind of like a food truck, or you're going to travel on the road to do carnivals and go in a wider area so you'll won't be sleeping at home every night. Okay, so one possibility is a tent. Tents have advantages and disadvantages. And disadvantage is you have to set it up and tear it down. It's not like a trailer where you can just hook onto your truck and drive away. It's not like a food truck where you just hop in and drive away. Tent requires labor. And if you get a 10 by 10 tents, like a pop-up tent, will not work. Like an easy up $150 tent. You might be able to get away with them if you're doing something local, but if you're trying to get on a fair or festival lot, it's usually 12 by 12, like an anchor tent. It looks professional, and also the most important part, it meets the California fire codes, and that's the code that's accepted by everyone across the United States. And if you don't have it California rated, you're probably not going to be able to play at anything except the smallest of events. Tents are good because they are cheap. It's a cheaper way to enter the field. However, they are labor intensive, and if it's hot, it's hot, and if it's cold, it's cold. If it's rainy, it's rainy. Those are all difficult times to be working out of a tent. The wind's going to blow out the flames on your fryers, the rain's going to pour in. Just not the greatest. However, if you want an entry-level method to see if this is for you before you invest in a trailer, a tent will work. Okay, moving on to a cart. A cart is like, I'm thinking like a hot dog cart, and you can sell things beside hot dogs. You can sell anything that needs to be held. Now the hot dogs are actually hot dogs, sausages, brats. Those kind of things are pre-cooked, so you're really just heating them up and then holding them. So if you had a way to cook potatoes, for instance, or corn, and then you could hold them there. You can't bake a potato in a hot dog cart, but you certainly could hold it there. So carts are another alternative. I used to think a cart was really cheap. You could pick up a used hot dog cart for $1,000. Boy, was I wrong. Carts start around $5,000 used. Sometimes you get the person's route with the cart, which is an added perk. But if you're going to buy a new cart, they're $10,000 to $12,000, and it seems hard to believe, but they're complicated. They're made out of stainless steel. They're a high demand item, and yeah, they're pricey. Unbelievable, right? $12,000 for a hot dog cart. No wonder hot dogs cost $5. Okay, the third thing, and something I'm very interested in, is an OMG cart. This is a cart hybrid. They are so interesting, and they're manufactured by Irwin Manufacturing out of Texas. Make sure you're at the right site with this, because there's a couple of OMG outfits out there, but they are the coolest thing. They are a cart that you can pull behind your car even, and they make all different configurations. They have carts for barbecuing, carts for with a grill with fryers on them, and you can put them under a tent if you want to, or you can just have them out in the open, and they are offer the ability to cook a wide range of products depending on which cart you choose, and they are wildly less expensive than many of the other carts and trailers. And also they even do a rent-to-own program. They do financing. It's really a cool outfit. I have no affiliation with this group, but I've watched them for a while and I've always been intrigued. My husband's not so interested in them because you're out in the open, so you still have to be under the tent, and also you're going to have to stand there, which of course you have to stand to cook anyway, so that's not really a consideration. But it's more the weather thing that concerns him about them, but I think they are awesome, so definitely check them out. Okay, the next way you can get on, and now we're talking more fairgrounds here, is a building. So when I started, well, I wasn't even in a building. That was an upgrade for me. When I first started, I started in a little booth underneath the grandstands on a fairgrounds, and it had a dirt floor. It was horrible. And I operated out of there one year, and then the next year the fair president contacted me and said, would you like to move to a building? We have a building available. Hallelujah, yes, absolutely, we want to move to a building. When we left that little booth under the fairgrounds, under the grandstands, they closed it down, and no one's ever been in there since. Okay, I can see why. It must have been a fire marshal's nightmare, us cooking underneath a place where thousands of people were sitting in a wooden grandstand. Interesting. Okay, so then we went to a building. I highly recommend buildings if you're able to get them. And there are more of those becoming available now, because it used to be organizations had the buildings, the Grange or the Rotary, and volunteers would bring things in. I remember a local fair that we used to do. It was run by a church, and they were famous for their turkey dinners. They sold many things, but their turkey dinners were wildly popular. And you would see ladies all day long carrying roasting pans with turkeys they had cooked at home and were bringing to the booth to support the church booth. And the food was dynamite, I'll tell you. But anytime you can get a building, it's great because you can serve a lot of stuff out of a building. As I said, we started on the grandstands. Next year went to a building, in that building, over 30 years. And we did breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Because we were down near the barns, but it was also easy for the people who worked on the grounds to come and eat with us, and we did really, really well. And that's really how I got my start. At the end of the week, we would see all the people from the carnival leave to go to the next spot. We kind of felt left out, so one year we said, let's think about getting in that business, and that's kind of how it all started. If you can get a building, they often come with all the equipment too, which is a real perk. I would say make sure you can sell whatever you want out of the building. See if if they limit the menu for you, and also see if the equipment comes. And I would also negotiate the rent. Tell them you'll try it the first year and then try to get a lower rent, with the idea that if it goes well, you'll come back the next year and you'll pay the higher rent that they're probably asking at the beginning. So if you can do a building, I highly recommend. It's a great way to get started. Okay, the next one is the food truck. If you're thinking of getting into the food truck business, where you're parking on a street corner or in a food truck park, food truck is the way to go. But you can also take a food truck to local events. I wouldn't recommend driving your food truck 200 miles and following the fair circuit. But if there's a local event, even a local fair, I think bringing a food truck to that is a great idea. And you'll be surprised how many events there are around your area that you might not even know about, and you may choose to do. So I don't know a lot about food trucks because I have never owned a food truck. I have a friend who was in the business, and she came to the 2 local fairs in our area, and she did very well. She's not in the business anymore because she had problems with getting and keeping help, but so she sold the truck. But I think a food truck is great if it suits your needs. And the last one is a food trailer. So, food trailer, and this is where my heart is. I've almost always operated out of food trailers. Once we had our building and decided we wanted to get into, really give this a try, we did. We built a food trailer of our own. Well, the first one we did, it was an old, I don't know, now it's probably would be worth a lot of money, but it was a funky old silver camper. It looks kind of like an Airstream, but it wasn't. And then we put a tent in front of it, and we did our cooking. I think we did our cooking inside the trailer and serving out of the tent. I can't really remember. To be honest with you, at that point, I was having children, and my husband and his brothers went and ran that, so I hardly ever operated out of that. But from there, we decided we sold that. We decided we'd build, because we were so smart, we thought we'd build a trailer. Yeah, let me tell you, when you build a trailer, we built it out of wood, and oh my gosh, it weighed so much. It was so heavy. So after that one, we ran that a couple of years, did very well, did French fries and fried dough out of that one at little events. And again, we sold that, and then we actually, when we went back into the business, that's a whole nother story. We bought a used Wells Cargo trailer, and that is a workhorse, and that is still on the road today. And we've had a variety of other trailers along the way in addition to that. But a trailer, I think it's the best way to go. Whether you're doing local events or you're following the fair circuit, I think a trailer, they're enclosed, they're safe, they have all your equipment, all your storage. And as I said, they're easy. At the end of the week, you just hook up and you're ready to go. So I've got a list of resources. I've got a list of including trailer manufacturers and the OMG site and so forth. There'll be a link to it under this video, and check it out and think about what you're going to sell, where you're going to play, and what rig is best for you. Thank you. I hope you found this enjoyable. Give it a thumbs up and have a great day.